speaking of the Browns, boy, the hits just keep coming for Deshaun Watson. Today, the Browns quarterback learned a 24th civil lawsuit was filed in Houston for sexual misconduct. Voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, joins us now. Jimmy, this was not a big surprise. We knew that number 24 was coming. We heard about this late last week. Is anything particularly newsworthy or different about this one?
No, not really, Jay. The number is really what is startling, because now we're averaging about a lawsuit a week. Remember, we are at 22, and it seemed as though that's where we were going to be until we finally got some kind of end to the story. But another one was filed last week. That's 23. Today it's 24. And there is a same pattern. When you read the body of the lawsuit, there is a sameness to all of these therapists, their stories about their interaction with Deshaun Watson. And it starts out with a professional first visit, a massage. But then on the second visit, that's when it appears things go off the rail and it becomes alarming. And that is when these plaintiffs now make their complaint and they send out the evidence against Deshaun Watson. So where are the Browns right now? Well, today they were out on the golf course at their charity golf outing out at Westwood Country Club. But as usual, Kevin Stefanski was hit with questions about Deshaun Watson. The biggest one is, are you preparing your team to not have Watson? In other words, the suspension that appears to be on the horizon by the NFL. Are you ready for that?
All along, we're just going to take those type of things day by day, and when we have information, then we'll act on said information. But prior to that, we'll just kind of talk about how we envision things going and then be ready to adjust.
All right, so that basically is his answer, and it should be his answer again on Wednesday when the Browns have their media session at their OTAs, and it will be his answer, I'm sure, coming up next week when they're at their mandatory minicamp. But at some point, Jay, the national pressure, as these numbers continue to rise on the number of suits against Deshaun Watson, the pressure is going to be on NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell to end this case where it regards the NFL and make a decision in this case to tell the Browns and Watson what the punishment, if any, is going to be, what the suspension, if any, is going to be, because it's getting late. They met with Watson, the NFL did, and the investigators in the case for a fourth time last week. And again, they come out of that meeting saying the investigation is basically wrapped up.
So I guess, and I know this is a shot in the dark because nobody knows, it's all guesswork here.
Right.
But one would think, Jimmy, that there would be some definitive word from the NFL sometime before training camp begins and certainly before the season begins. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. I mean, I think that there are three ways to handle this. Number one would be a suspension. Number two would be no suspension. Number three would be, and a lot of people think this isn't going to be on the table right now, number three would be that the NFL keeps their nose out of it until the civil lawsuits appear to be going to trial, until there would be some decisions in those trials. Now, we are hearing that could be another year, if even longer than that, and that the NFL would take a lot of criticism if they don't get involved. So, yeah, I think right now that the situation is that as far as the suspension is concerned, the Browns need to know ASAP.
Yeah.
It would be late, I think, if they went to training camp on the opening day of training camp and then a decision came down. That's why I think it's, any day now.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of Googling of Jacoby Brissett if that happens. Who do we have here? What are we dealing with? He's actually been a pretty decent backup quarterback and had some stints where he was the starter and did okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
He knows this role, Jay. If you remember, he was a part of the Tom Brady Deflategate suspension.
Right. Yeah.
He went in and played for the Patriots, won one, lost one.
Yeah. All right. Jimmy, thanks. We'll see you with more on this at 6.
Okay.